Welcome to It's Fate, a fantasy novel recap podcast where two friends dive in to discuss your favorite fantasy reads. I'm Morgan.
And I'm Katie. Hi.
What are we reading today, Katie?
We are reading and covering Powerless by Lauren Roberts.
Yes, this is the first book in the trilogy technically, but there's a novella as well. So 3.5 books.
3.5.
Only 2.5 are released.
Yeah, I kept for whatever reason thinking that Ruthless was book 3 because I read the novella.
Is it Ruthless or Reckless?
No, you're right. It's Ruthless.
I don't know. I literally bought it yesterday and can't remember.
I think it's Ruthless.
That makes sense. And then the last one's Fearless.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that one comes out next year. So fun stuff.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. I made some cookies.
You did. They were delicious.
They had no flour in them. I ran out of flour.
Your gluten-free girlies, thank you.
Yeah, I figured. I was like, oh, Morgan's going to love this.
I love it.
But other than, I cleaned my house
Very
today.
clean.
Yeah.
Just all this for me?
Chill day. You help me clean my house even more. Because then I'm like, oh, Morgan's going to clean up.
Morgan's going to judge you so hard if it looks like you live here.
It's just my own thing.
I know. I'm the same way. I'm like, everything must be in its place.
Yeah, even though, I feel like I've had friends see my house or my room, messy, and I'm like, oh, I know they don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
we've been friends long enough that.
Yeah.
We're drinking these cute little Culture Pop soda, ginger, lemon, and turmeric, and these were chosen simply for their color because we are wearing blue today for Forget-Me-Nots and Paedyn's eyes.
Let's see if it's good. Cheers.
Let's do it. Cheers.
Oh, that's lemony.
And gingery. It's very gingery.
Yeah.
But I think it's supposed to be healthy.
I like it.
I do too.
I like ginger.
Definitely, soda is misleading.
Yeah, it's more like a fizzy water flavored. Mm-hmm. Well, it's more than flavored water.
Yeah, because
it's just a ginger ale. It's basically ginger ale.
Ginger ale without the sugar. We call sparkling waters in my house. Literally, we'll just say sparkle. You want sparkle?
Oh.
I'll get you sparkle.
That's
what flavor
cute.
sparkles do we have today?
It's really cute.
Thank you. We're really cute. So yeah, I said what outfits we're wearing. And this is just spoiler. Our whole episode is spoilers for
don't
this
watch
book.
It.
Yeah, for Powerless only. We will not spoil anything for the future books. So
okay. Should we get started?
Let's do it.
Did you know anything about the series beforehand?
I literally knew nothing.
Nothing. Me either. And
I kind of like that. And it was almost the same for Fourth Wing, but I know we both knew about Violet and her Xaden, her lover.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew nothing. I didn't even know what the characters' names were.
Me either.
So fun.
I know. It was fun. And I know this book was hyped up a lot on TikTok at least.
Yeah.
But usually if I don't know the book, I just swipe right away because I don't want to ruin it in case I ever read the book.
Same, unless I'm actively what should I read next? Which doesn't happen very much anymore because there's so much that's obviously popular.
Yeah.
That'll add to my TBR.
Yes.
So,
yeah. What were your first impressions when you were reading?
Almost immediately I was like, this is Throne of Glass meets Hunger Games.
Yes.
And I loved it. It didn't feel like a copycat of those, but I was just like, oh, I see heavy inspiration here, and I liked it.
I liked it too. I always read the dedication. Mm-hmm. Do you read the dedication? Or are you one of those who...
I do, but I don't remember it, so read it to me.
It says, for every girl who has ever felt powerless.
I love that.
Yeah, it's super cute. I was like, oh, I love to read the dedication.
Yeah, I like reading dedications too, even if they're just sentimental and for their loved ones.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
It could be for blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, so sweet.
Yeah. Okay. Something else I didn't know is that Lauren Roberts wrote this book when she was 18.
Oh my goodness.
And she's now 22.
Yeah, she's so young.
Very impressive.
That is super impressive to write this whole thing.
And it's her first book, and it just took off, which I love.
That's
I love
really,
that
really
for her.
cool. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Characters.
Yes, let's talk about, okay. When we talked about Iron Flame, you were not a fan of the names, like Bodhi and Brennan. They bugged you. So we have some names. We have Paedyn, Kai, Kitt, Jax, Blair, Ace, Andy. We're going to save any talk about Adina for our next week's episode, where we'll cover her little book. But what do you think about the names?
They're okay.
Okay.
I think I like fantasy names that just don't sound so modern.
Yeah.
I think that's like Paedyn sounds modern to me.
Really?
Yeah, it sounds like Caden or like Jaden or I don't know. It just sounds.
Paedyn.
Yeah, it just sounds like a name that I would hear.
Yeah. I like that name a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's cute. Mm-hmm. It's really cute, but
yeah,
it's fine.
Kitt and Kai were like not. Well, Kai's name is Malachi, which is my child's name. That was weird.
At least you don't call your son Kai. So.
I don't, and it's spelled differently. So,
yeah.
But like Andy.
Yeah.
Blair.
Yeah.
Jax. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I kind of like Kitt because it does remind me of like a prince.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would remind me of like a storyhood prince.
Well, I wonder if he has a longer name too.
He probably does.
Like if Kitt's a nickname and it's like something super regal, like Kitt Hold something. I don't know, like something so out of the box.
Yeah, maybe.
Kitt Wright.
Did you like the names?
Yeah, I didn't mind them, but I don't think they bother me as much as you. Me. But I do know what you mean. However, I was confused with this of like, what time are we in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this modern, but like an underdeveloped society? Like modern-ish?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't know either. It was confusing.
Mm-hmm.
I pictured it. I'm so bad. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know.
I mean, either. I pictured it in Throne of Glass times.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh, there's like stone castles and stuff. Like medieval.
Yeah, like medieval. And there were no cars, no phones. There weren't even guns. So like that puts you back pretty far.
Yeah.
But then there were like cardigans with lace trim and pleated skirts. Maybe that was in the next book, but regardless, it's the same time period.
Yeah.
It was the fashion that threw me off.
Yeah, and the fashion. Maybe. Do you like when they have like detailed descriptions of like?
I do. Yeah, because it helps me picture them. But then I got confused this time.
I hate when it's ugly.
Yeah, and I've been trying to picture. So Paedyn wears this green vest a lot with all these pockets, and I've been trying to picture it in a way that fits the time.
All I can picture really is like a fisherman's vest.
Same, but I don't think that's what it is.
I don't think so either, because she's supposed to like be able to like pickpocket. So it wouldn't really make sense to like have pockets so visible and like have all your
everything exposed. Then I'm like, is it like a tight vest? But then how does she reach in if it's like tight to her body?
I don't know.
No idea.
We need to look up maybe fan art.
I know, but I'm scared. I want to wait till we've read the next book that's been released.
You're right.
Okay, so what do you think of Paedyn?
I liked her.
Yeah.
I liked how strong she was. I loved that she had no powers.
Me too. I loved that.
Yeah. I wish we got more scenes with her between her and Adina. I just felt like their friendship was just not very developed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was like 4 chapters before she was whisked away to the castle.
I feel like all we really got from them was, they're really close. And then she forgot about her.
Which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I was like, I forgot about her too. Like,
yeah.
You're kind of busy.
Flirting it up.
Yeah. Living the dream. I mean, come on. I obsess over an unhinged, stabby female lead all the time. And it's like, I don't know why, because I'm not unhinged or stabby usually. But like, I love that.
Yeah, I think it is fun. I love that she beat up her man.
Yeah, and she's just like...
In a fun way.
Like, you're going to joke with me? Yeah, no.
Take that out of context. That's not.
No, they literally spar and she wins.
Spar.
Okay. But her just always being like, yeah, I can pull a knife on you at any time. And knife throwing. I was like flipping, what was it? Oh, my hairbrush the other day. And I'm thinking like, man, I would get stabbed so many times. I was trying to practice like grabbing the handle.
That's hard.
And you think about like, what if you accidentally grab
the
blade and you're like with your full fist and it just, yeah.
I would rather not think about that.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, and then what did you think about her psychic ability?
Yeah, so Paedyn had the psychic ability that wasn't true. It wasn't a true ability. Her father kind of taught her to do this because she's an ordinary in a world of elites, and ordinaries are supposed to be killed. That's the whole premise of the story. I thought it was genius.
Yeah.
I was very impressed that she was able to pick up on these things.
Super impressive.
Yeah.
I would be nervous every day of my life.
No, I wouldn't have made it.
Super impressive. I understand why if you're an ordinary, you would choose like, oh, I just have like, I can smell really good.
Yeah.
Like that's an easier one.
But then what if they were like, okay, what's that smell? What is that spice? You'd have to really train your nose.
That's true.
But I guess it could be trained.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, you just have like heightened sense of smell. And they did a good job of being like, well, it's not like I can read your mind or see the future. I can just get a sense of emotion and kind of like pick out your recent circumstances.
Yeah.
Like, that's really smart.
I'd be really scared if someone was like just really put together and clean.
I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, every situation was very obvious. And I was waiting for Kai. I wanted Kai to be like, read me.
Oh.
I wanted that. I didn't get it.
No.
Yeah, because I'm curious how that would have gone.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about Kai? I saw your TikTok.
You saw my TikTok where I was complaining how all the main male leads are looking the same to me.
Yeah, other than the swirly tattoos, they look like my husband, so I'm not mad about it.
Maybe I'm mad because they don't look like my husband.
I was thinking that our husbands are opposites.
I need to retire the actor in my head. You know,
Henry Cavill.
He needs to just go on vacation for a little bit.
No, I get that.
You know?
Yeah, I said Henry Cavill, but honestly, I don't see Henry Cavill as Kai,
either.
but I see him as Reese, and I see him as, who else was it that I was just thinking of?
Paedyn.
No, Paedyn's too young.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, but I don't know who would play Kai, but somebody definitely younger.
Yeah.
Curly hair. Yeah.
Yeah. And always the swirling tattoos. I'm like, there's other kinds of tattoos, guys.
What do they mean? Why do him and Kitt have matching swirly tattoos?
BFF night. Got matching tattoo.
Just some bros.
Got a little too drunk.
Oh my gosh, that's probably accurate.
How did you like Kai?
I really liked him. I wrote down 1 million Kai quotes that I'm very obsessed with. So I'm going to read a couple of them.
Okay, I'm excited.
I'm going to read a couple for the audience. The first quote is on page 45. Oops. And this is when I was like, dang, I think something I liked about him is that he is such this hard, monstrous exterior. But then when you hear how he talks about like those he loves, and even just the way he describes, I'm like, damn, Kai, you're a poet. I love this. He said, "It's like drowning in the ocean. Her eyes are the color of the shallow sea's deepest corner, a clear sky as it begins to drift into night, the subtle shade of forget-me-not, and like the hottest flame, her eyes are blue and full of fire." Okay. Can somebody describe my eyes that way?
I literally wrote this one down too.
And it was like they just met. Like this was upon meeting, and he's already describing her that way.
Yeah. I told Ty, I was like, oh, he's so in love with her.
He is. Yeah. And I just love, and then this one was so small, so subtle on page 224. I'll read that one too. I'm just going to read everybody the whole book. So tuck in. Let's go. What did I say? 224?
224.
Okay. All it says was, if I am to be her enemy, I want it to be because she loathes herself for wanting me. I love that.
You love that.
I love that. I do. Okay, last one. Last one. Okay.
241.
241. Thank you.
Quote about the sunset.
Yes. So this is during the forest trials. And he says, she's so stunning, yet so stubbornly oblivious to how the sunset behind dulls in comparison to the vibrance that is her. Amazing.
You love him.
I do. Mm-hmm. I do. And honestly, I think this is like a rare true enemies to lovers.
Yeah, I'm trying to... Oops, I kicked my dog.
Because like, yeah, Rhys and Farrah kind of. Like,
they
but
were
not,
more... Not really. Just like a little bit.
Because Rhys was never really her enemy.
Yeah.
But like, they are truly... I don't know how it's going to work out between the two of them.
Yeah, well now...
Yeah.
I feel like they're even more enemies now.
Well, now they've killed each other's dads.
Yeah. So now it's like super enemies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I love that they still want each other.
I know.
I think it's so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. How did you feel, though, about Kai calling Paedyn darling the whole time?
It was okay. Yeah. It was like fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
No.
But it's a risk. Little pet names like that. To me,
it is a risk. I agree. And I think sometimes some authors take it too far where they use it too often, and I'm just like, okay.
I felt like that's maybe what it was. Like, it wasn't all the time. He still used her name. He had another nickname for her when he called her Pay.
Yeah,
he would call her something else,
little psychic.
Yeah. That's a cute one. See, I would rather hear that all the time than darling. Darling is like old married people.
Yeah. But I also don't want it like to be modern. Like I don't want like
true.
Baby or something.
Babe.
Babe. Hey babe.
Bae.
That would be the worst.
That would be absolutely the worst. Oh my gosh. Okay, what about Kitt?
Oh, I loved him.
Dorian vibes, right? Throughout most of the book.
Dorian vibes in like Throne of Glass.
Yes, exactly. Just this like naive, carefree, but also like bearing the weight of his future kingdom on his shoulders, but trying to be really lax about it.
Yeah.
And it honestly was a very like Dorian, Kale, Selena dynamic. And Dorian and Kale were always like, we're brothers, but they weren't. But like, these guys actually are brothers.
Yeah.
So I got that vibe the whole time.
I thought that was the weird part.
Oh yeah, I didn't love that they both were into her. We talked about this when we mentioned Bridgerton. Like, I don't like siblings. No, that bugs me.
The rivalry, it bugs me as well. Jax.
Okay, yeah, Jax is like their adoptive brother, kind of. I was thinking about you in modern slang and stuff. And at one point at the beginning of the book, he like chuckles and goes, "Oh, my bad." Did you catch that?
I did.
Of course you did.
I immediately didn't like it.
I know. I'm like, Katie's going to hate this.
I kept forgetting about him.
Yeah.
To be honest. And then Kai would
bring him up.
I'm like, oh yeah.
I was convinced he was going to die.
Oh.
From the moment I met him, I was like, oh, he's dying.
And he did.
He's the dead goofball.
And he did.
But he didn't. I know.
It's kind of lame.
I actually texted you. I was like, I have a prediction coming true. And then he stayed alive. And I was like, never mind, whatever.
It was. I mean, it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what about Blair? I wish we got more of her as a villain.
Me too. I felt like there was some underdevelopment there. Like her hatred towards Pay. Why is it so? She's like a vitriol hate. Like because
she is jealous. It's envy.
Yeah.
But like we didn't get enough interaction between the two of them, or even just like enough Blair at all. Like she was very off to the side.
I would forget about her as a villain. And then I'm like, oh yeah, she's there.
Right. And she went to all the balls as Kai's date.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why didn't we saw a little bit, but not a ton.
Yeah. Do you think she's jealous? Do you think she wants one of the princes?
Yeah. I feel like that's what there was alluding to. I don't think it matters to her. What do you think?
Wants the title.
She just wants one of them.
Yeah. I agree that it's something there. I also really think she doesn't like Pay because she comes from the slums.
Yeah, she's definitely an elitist.
Yeah.
They literally call themselves the elite, so.
It's not settled.
No. Okay, Ace, who was another member in the trials that they go on, and this is where it's a lot like Hunger Games and the first Throne of Glass book, is that there's these trials that these teenagers compete in. Ace has the power to create illusions. There we go. I was gonna say mirages. Illusions. At first I was like, okay, lame, whatever. And then when we saw it in action, the scene where Pei is in the woods and she hasn't been hurt yet because he hurts her. And all of a sudden she's surrounded by like sickly versions of herself who talk and like asking her to help her. It's like ghosts.
Little kids,
yeah. Like creepy child ghosts of yourself. I was like, this is terrifying. I'm scared.
His is really scary and gross. Also, his ability to read people. That was really insightful of him to know, like...
that she would need... That's
scary to her, that would hit something... Even if it's not scary, but it would hit something where she would be shocked. Yeah.
And she was scared.
It is scary.
I was scared reading it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the horror genre.
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Andy... I forgot about her all the time.
The only reason I didn't is because I thought her power was really cool. Yeah. But same, she was kind of under the radar. I would forget that she was like, I think she's their cousin.
She's their cousin, and her power was really cool.
Yeah. And then there was Sadie, who died.
And
that was interesting.
That was weird.
Yeah. What did you think about that?
I'm going to be honest. I'm like, okay, I remember her duplicating herself. And then Kai kills her, but I can't remember what she did to Pei.
She was about to kill Paedyn. Okay. She had the sword like lifted.
Oh, that's right. And then he came.
And was like through the middle.
Yes.
That shocked me. I thought he was going to like knock her out.
It was gory. That's something I do like about Kai is I liked that the author put in those little bits of him like torturing or like his kind of like
that monster side.
Yes. I felt like it was very clear like he is still a he's not a monster, but he like has a side of him that this is what he's been trained to do.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. He's not a monster, but just that no, he is truly ruthless.
Yeah.
And is a trained killer, and it just doesn't really faze him.
He'll do something gory like gut someone
who's he grew up with.
Yeah. Or even him burning Braxton, same thing. Like there was no.
Oh, that's right.
Both of them, like there was no remorse from both of them.
No, he was just like
what
whatever.
I have to do.
And then he wanted to kill Ace, and he would have. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, like we said earlier, we'll save like major thoughts on Adina for our next episode. Yeah. So let's talk about what we loved.
Okay.
Okay. I love when a female main character doesn't care that the MMC is like technically authority over her or like authority figure.
I feel like too in this book it really worked out in her favor because that's how why Kitt started liking hers because he was like, you just don't suck up to everything I say.
And Kai too.
Yeah.
It was like it took a different form with each of them. But yeah, they were like, whoa, she's so different. She's so different. Oh my gosh. She's not like other girls.
They probably only really hang out with men. So
probably. And then like Blair.
Yeah.
And their cousin. Yeah. So
and their mom.
A lot of options.
Oh, they hang out with their cook.
Gail.
But
I think she was like a mother figure.
Yeah.
I also really liked that she rescued him in the beginning, and that's how they first met. What do you think of that?
I love that she fooled him.
Yes.
Too.
Completely. First she robbed him.
Yeah.
And she comes back and rescues him and still escapes his power of like, so I was like, oh, she's getting caught right now. Like what's going to happen? Because he can read other people's powers and then take it on, but he couldn't read her.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's because I'm a psychic. I just protect it against you in my mind.
He wasn't the brightest. No. He was like easily bamboozled.
Blinded by those eyes. Those blue eyes. Forget-me-not eyes. I also liked, so back to when Kai killed Sadie, I liked that Paedyn kind of went into shock a little bit because it wasn't, like seeing death and killing isn't common for her to see, you know?
Yeah.
Especially when it's that close. Like she almost died and then just saw somebody get speared through. I just felt like it was a more realistic reaction than sometimes what we see in stories where, you know, typically the female, maybe it's the male who doesn't see death a lot, is kind of just like, whoa, that was wild. And then they move on. Mm-hmm. So I appreciated that.
I like that too. And then it gives them a moment to bond.
Mm-hmm. It was cute. And then I also liked that Kai is afraid of heights. I love that it was like, oh, he's not just this perfect robotic monster, basically. Like, he has a true fear of something.
And he's still afraid of heights.
Yeah, and he has to, like, battle that all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that too. I loved seeing how Kitt and Kai both had to really face their role in their life. Like, basically their role has been just dealt to them and they had no choice in that. And so I'm hoping in the series we'll get more into them actually being able to, like, make a choice for how their lives are going to be.
Yeah. I know, man. I have no idea. I keep thinking about, like, I'm excited to read the next book.
Yeah,
because I just don't know how. I don't know how it's gonna go. I also liked that when Paedyn was fighting Ace and she realized, like, her old sickly haunted self is someone she loves, and it's made her who she is today, and that's how she was able to, you know, essentially defeat him. And it made me think of Farah looking into the Ouroboros and, like, loving her monstrous self. It's a little different, but just that idea of, like, loving all sides of yourself and not letting people use that against you.
Yeah, I love that too. Some healing there.
Definitely. And I also liked the world overall, but I hope we get more, because there were a lot of unexplored areas on the map.
I was looking at the map, and when they went to the woods, to the Whispering Woods, is that what they're called?
Yes, I think so.
There's a town, like, nearby.
Oh.
It looks
remember.
nearby. It's not.
Maps are deceiving.
Yeah. Here's the Whispers, and here's Tando.
Wait, why don't people just go through the Whispers to get there instead of the freaking Scorches?
The whole time when she was in the trials, I was thinking, if I was Paedyn, I would probably be running to Tando.
I wonder if they don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, I would be too. I'd be like, get me out of here.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not teaming up with you, Kai. I'm leaving. I guess she did Adina.
Whatever.
But she forgot about her.
I know.
Most of the time.
And no, Adina had come before the trial. Yeah. I also really loved the unmatched banter between Kai and Paedyn. I liked a lot about this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it too. I think they had I loved her quick.
So quick.
Always just making him double think.
I know, and I'm always
take him aback.
When you read, do you ever think, like, oh yeah, like that would be me, and then you're like, reality, you're like, that would not be me.
Yeah. Like she's so. I would probably kiss a prince's butt, you know, and be like, oh my god.
I know.
Like, or at least, like, if I have banter, I wouldn't. She's just so direct.
Yeah.
Like, she's so direct. It's like kind of telling Kitt, like, yeah, you haven't even seen anywhere in your kingdom. How could you even be a good king? I'm like, dang.
I know. And then, like, not being scared of Kai at all, even though he has so much power to kill her.
Yeah.
And that whole just like, well, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. And then immediately she says what she said she wasn't going to say. All right. What about some things we didn't love? We kind of touched on this. I didn't love that Kitt and Kai didn't talk about their feelings for Paedyn.
I agree.
It was weird.
It was weird. And something that I think in the next episode I have, but we can talk about it here, is it's kind of weird that Kitt would even continue to go after Paedyn after seeing all the footage from the trial. And, like, clearly,
oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
That, like, his brother was, like, at least a little bit interested in some way in Paedyn.
Yeah, and it, like, we get Kai's inner monologue because it's a dual POV, which I love that.
Yeah.
And it's very obvious that he knows that Kitt has some sort of feelings towards her.
Mm-hmm. But they, like, don't address it. They just both
Are they just like waiting? Whoever gets like to kiss her first gets her? Like,
I don't know.
Are they just waiting for her to choose and then everything would be fine?
I have no idea.
It really bugged me. I'm like, you guys are supposed to be like best friends.
Yeah, you talk about everything, and then this is something you're like,
it's just off limits.
The girl you like, you don't talk about. Who's the same girl?
I know. Okay, when they were in the Whispering Woods, speaking of the trials again, Paedyn gets stabbed, and Kai stitches her up. I can't handle descriptions of like needles. It was so detailed, which is like great. She's a good author, but I was like, I can't. I'm like feeling it, like I can feel it.
Oh, and she's
happening.
like talking.
When he has to stitch her up.
Yeah.
When he has to, like side. Put the needle, and it's like he even says like it's a coarse medical thread or whatever going through her. No pain.
I like barely remember that.
No, that stuck out. Or I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in pain.
Because he had to put that like medicine in there.
Yeah.
That was really gross.
Yeah.
They're like,
it's needles for me. I can't do needles. The sword going through Sadie, doesn't matter. Needle, stitching up somebody to heal them, terrifying.
A needle is basically a tiny sword.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just feels so precise.
Yeah.
And like you're not dying. It's just...
It's pierced.
Oh, yeah. Anything else you didn't like?
I didn't love Kai's little monologue to Paedyn when he like saw... It wasn't really a monologue. I'm being dramatic.
When she killed his dad, the king. Okay.
Yeah. Just like his little like, if I was a stronger person, I would kill you, but I would give you, I don't know. It was a little bit, I wish that was just like, it was a look between them and then she could like leave.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed some mystery there.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can feel that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of like a outwardly thing.
Mm-hmm. There wasn't that much we didn't like.
No. I liked this book.
I really liked this book. Let's get into some questions we have for each other.
Yeah. Why do you think the king was so insistent on training Kai as his enforcer? At some point, I was just like, how much more training does he need?
It's so hard for me to read about dads like this or parents like this in general, especially being a parent myself. Mm-hmm. Granted, I'm not
a king.
I'm not honing my royal lineage or my weapons. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, because I'm truly like, how... I guess I get that you need somebody to be this for you, but your own child... And like torturing them.
Yeah.
And like hurting them so they have to heal themselves. It was really hard for me to have any ounce of sympathy for the king in the slightest.
I get the sense too that the king doesn't have an enforcer himself.
No, I think
it's
Kai,
I think
you're right.
Kind of. But like,
oh yeah, like who was the enforcer before Kai?
Yeah, or was this just a role he made for Kai? For Kitt, which is kind of gross.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But he was already doing missions for the king before Kitt became king, which we never know his dad's name.
Sort of Glass vibes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. They just say the king or father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. It's very interesting. What are your thoughts on the king, who's like super ruthless, right? Being married to a woman who, like, I don't know, really seemed like they were in love. Mm-hmm. And she seems to be a little more sweet and caring, but like she still allows him to do everything he's doing, and he's only sweet to her, and it's always like he only smiles for her, he only looks happy with her. I feel like that dynamic's kind of common. What did you think about that?
I think it's a way to like humanize the king, but it's really gross. Yeah. And like I think to myself too, how much did the wife really, was this just like a power move to get her like an alliance or something? Mm-hmm. I don't know, but they did seem in love.
Yeah. And like maybe she has said stuff and he just shuts it down,
or she doesn't know to the extent of which his evilness is, but I feel like it's kind of clear.
I feel like it is.
I mean, he literally enacted like a genocide on people, like the ordinaries.
Yeah, but I guess nobody else cares. So why would she? She's an elite too. And literally they are so brainwashed. They're truly terrified that ordinaries are going to kill them.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah.
Did you forget about the resistance throughout most of the book, just like I did?
Yep.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, yeah. Huh. I don't care.
I know. I didn't care either.
I guess that could have been under like I don't like. I just didn't really.
Yeah. But I think they're going to play a huge role in future books.
I guess. Are they all dead? Like, I don't know.
They're all dead.
Are they?
I don't know.
That was all over the place for me.
Yeah.
I was very confused. And okay, so thinking about the resistance, did you think that their plan, like, what'd you think of their plan?
It was awful.
Right?
It was so underdeveloped.
I was like, wait, no, you guys aren't going to do that, right?
It was so underdeveloped.
And then when it got to the end of the book, Adina dies. She's speared through the heart.
Yeah.
By a blunt stick, which also is like very tragic. And I'm thinking, oh, the resistance is going to see that. And they're going to like not do anything. They're going to not do their motion, their plan. Mm-hmm. But no, they still did.
They still did. And then they didn't tell Paedyn that the prince's lives were at stake.
Yeah. And then I feel like they should have had a better plan because nobody touched Paedyn, which gave her away. Mm-hmm. But did she want to be given away? I don't know. They could have like pretended to grab her.
Yeah. And they didn't do a good job at like they were outnumbered. I don't really know how they thought they would win.
I don't know what they thought they were going to do because they silenced everybody's powers. And then they were like, let us live or we'll kill the king. But like, what do they think would happen as soon as they left that arena? If everyone's like, okay, sure. And then they leave the arena and they're not silenced anymore. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Change doesn't happen like that.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Not when you're confronted with a knife. Change everything about your kingdom or else.
Change everything about your worldview and how you view us or else. It's like that's not helping.
Sure. And then they would just kill you later. So, okay. What power would you want? We learned about a lot of powers.
Yeah. The phaser sounds nice.
Going
I would
through
love
walls.
to walk through walls.
That's awesome.
Andy's is really cool.
Yeah. I liked Andy's too.
The Blair's, the telly.
Yeah, Blair's was neat too, but it was interesting that it was clear to Paedyn that her weakness was then hand-to-hand combat. Mm-hmm. She never had to train that. So I think if you were aware and made sure you trained hand-to-hand, like, she could kind of be unstoppable.
Yeah.
She could pick people up.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Well, which power did you like?
I liked the telly. I liked... I liked Sadie's being a shifter. The sight would be creepy. No, thank you.
The sight was super creepy.
So I pictured them as like, have you seen Spirited Away?
No.
There's this character called No Face, and it's a mask.
Uh-huh.
It's a cartoon. It's an anime. But I pictured them like that. Just staring with no expression.
Yeah, no expression. I almost... Like, that's the only thing they can do is, like, it feels weird.
It feels very invasive. It feels like they're not human.
Yeah.
Like, these are humans.
Like, they're being
they have powers.
used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack's power of being a blink was cool. Like, just being able to literally blink and be somewhere else.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Really neat.
I would love that.
I don't think I'd want super strength.
Me either.
Just be boring.
Yeah.
Everyone would always ask me to open their jars of pickles and stuff.
We don't want to be asked to do anything.
I want someone else to do it for me.
Do you think Paedyn was a good friend to Adina?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think she was either.
I just didn't really get their whole dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like Adina was like obsessed with Paedyn, and then Paedyn felt protective over her, but then completely forgot about her, which we've discussed.
Yeah.
But
I mean, she was a little like
distracted and trying to live.
Yeah.
I get
Just trying to survive.
Just trying to survive in front of a king that she thought murdered her father. No big deal. But I just felt like she was like never thinking about Adina.
I also thought it was a bad idea to bring Adina into the castle.
Yeah.
I'm like, she knows your secret.
I think what's hard is we were doing the tandem read, so we knew that Adina was safe with Mac.
That's true.
But Paedyn didn't know that.
Paedyn's like, she's
sleeping in the fort, which is garbage.
Literally garbage, and she can't steal her own sticky buns. So how's she gonna live?
She needs the sticky buns.
Needs those sticky buns. Yeah, because I was thinking shortly before Adina got taken by the king, I was like, isn't there a power of somebody who can tell whether or not you're telling the truth in this book? And I'm like, the king's going to have one of those. Like, it seems like he has every powerful type of person on hand. Like, he could easily ask Adina things about Paedyn and then hurt her.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't smart to have Adina there at all.
And it was really sad. Okay, you remember Lenny?
Yeah.
The Imperial who ended up being a part of the resistance. He kept calling Paedyn Princess with a capital P. And when they showed up at the house where the resistance was, and he was like, Princess, and he said, why are you calling me? She was like, why are you calling me Princess? And he basically said, there's a lot we need to talk about. Kind of insinuating he's going to address the princess thing. Never does. What do you think this was about?
I've actually saw some theories about it that I want to talk about next episode.
Okay. Can I share? Have you read mine, what I wrote?
No.
Okay. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah. Tell me.
I had just a fleeting thought because Paedyn's mom died when she doesn't remember her mother. Kitt's mom also died. Doesn't remember his mother really, I don't think. It sounds like they both died of some sort of sickness. And I don't know. They both died of a sickness. And there's one moment in the book where Kai learns that Paedyn's mom died that way. And he kind of says, like, it made me think of Kitt's mom, and I just feel for them. And I was like, huh.
Would that mean that Paedyn's mom... Would that mean she would have to have, like, run away from the king or...
Yeah. Or had an affair.
Oh, yeah.
Because Paedyn's dad would go to the castle as a healer sometimes when they had high needs. What if they met in the castle? What if Paedyn's mom never lived in the house with them? What if it was, like, an affair? But then I guess she's pregnant, so she would have to hide that from the king. I don't know how she'd do that. I always forget about that part. I don't know. It was just a thought because I'm like, princess, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Which means she would be Kitt's sibling, but not Kai's.
Ew.
Weird.
I'm glad they didn't kiss.
I'm glad too. I'm really glad. That would be weird. That was super weird. The Luke and Leia situation from Star Wars. Yeah.
Do you think Kitt will find out the extent to which their father trained Kai?
I think he already knows.
See, that's the thing that makes me icked out, is I'm like, it's not okay for your father to be torturing your brother.
And that's the thing. I was like, oh, Kitt, like, so sweet, so naive. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, but at what point
is
it
naive.
Your responsibility now to not be naive?
He's so naive.
You know, like, he's still very sweet. And I do think, like, deep down, he has a sweetheart. He's absolutely been brainwashed, just like Kai, but about, like, different sides of things. And it doesn't help that, like, Kitt has always been trying to make his father proud and definitely has a daddy complex going on there. There's some issues. But like, at what point is it time to take responsibility for your own actions?
What Paedyn basically was telling him was like, at what point are you, and even Kai was saying that to Kitt, right? Like, at what point are you going to stop just doing the things that
Dad told you?
Yeah. And start being the king that you want to be.
Yes. Yeah. Do we know how old Kitt and Kai are?
I was going to ask this. I have no idea.
Paedyn kept saying boy for both of them, which makes me think that
they're around her age.
Yeah.
They're similar, like 18.
What is she, 18?
She's 18.
Okay.
Of course.
Why can't she be 25?
She's 25 in my brain.
She's 25.
Well, Kitt's a little old to be So naive. But he was in the castle forever. So.
That's the thing. He's been truly sheltered.
Yeah.
And then when he did go to loot with her, he was a little shocked.
Yeah. But he wanted to help, which I was like, yes. Yes.
Okay. So another question. Do you think how everything happened with the resistance and then Paedyn's role and everything, do you think it has potentially created a monster in Kitt when there was a possibility of change?
Yes.
I do too. It made me really sad.
We know Kitt has that huge daddy complex where he thinks his father was amazing and wonderful. So I feel like this only confirmed to him that like ordinaries are like crazy and they're sickly and will only push that agenda further.
In the woods, when Ace made the first illusion for Paedyn, it was of Kitt being face down and dead in a pond. And later she tells Kitt that that's what she saw. And because he asked her, I think, because he saw the sight. But the sights, I don't think, pick up on the illusions. That's kind of the feeler I got.
Remember what
I know Kitt was like, what did you see? Like, why were you so distraught? And she says, I saw you face down and dead, and I saw all your potential like dying with it, and it broke my heart. And I was just thinking like, well, you just killed Kitt. Like, you killed his potential.
Yeah. He was making progress, and then now he's just angry and hurt, which obviously is justified.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when Kitt finds out that Kai murdered Paedyn's father, do you think that will change his heart in any way?
I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna end for Kitt. Like, I don't want him to die.
Yeah.
Do you think that Kai knows he killed Paedyn's father?
No.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either. And I think when he finds out, he's going to majorly be so conflicted and so like heartbroken.
I think so too. I think it'll help potentially heal them.
I think, yes.
And allow themselves to forgive each other.
Yeah.
Maybe. Do you think that Kai actually killed her dad?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. There's a split second there where I was like, is the king just saying this?
He could have just said that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Our memories are so fickle, you know, if it's like, because she even says, she's like, now I see, you know, she sees him doing that. She sees that it was Kai, but was it? Is that just her memory? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Interesting. Okay. Any predictions that came true? I definitely predicted a love triangle between Paedyn, Kitt, and Kai.
Yeah. Which we didn't like.
No, it did come true. And then right before they started the interviews, right before all the trials, I did have a thought. I was like, maybe Kai was the one who killed her dad and not the king.
Ooh.
Because I was like, why would the king be doing this himself? But then Kai has to be older than her.
Kai is a little bit older than her.
And Kitt's older than him. Because she was 13 when her dad died.
I think around there, yes.
Unless his first mission to kill somebody. Well, this wasn't his first, was it?
It was his first.
Oh, okay. So he would have been 13? That's so young.
Yeah. It's really young.
I don't know.
I feel like he was around that age.
Maybe. Like, I can't remember.
13, 14.
Oh.
How awful.
That is so awful.
It's disgusting. I really thought for a second when the branch hit Adina's chest that it was Kai. Like, not realizing who she was.
Like, oh, that Kai had killed her. Oh, my goodness. That would have been so bad.
I know.
That would have been awful.
I know. And I was like, wait, no.
Oh, my God.
But then I was like, oh, wait, it was Blair.
Which, like, then she just disappears. Whatever.
Yeah, what happens to Blair?
And I did predict that Jax was going to die. I thought Jax or Kitt would die. Because they just felt like important characters, but not so important that it would ruin the story, and kind of like the like naive good, like a naive goodness that could change like the course of the novel or something.
His murder wouldn't be justifiable, so it's like
Exactly.
extra impactful. When that was happening, I was like, oh, this is how Kai's gonna like join the resistance, because he's seeing how like his dad just like using his family as pawns.
That would have been so cool.
And then he came back to life.
I know.
Yeah.
Just in time
For Kai not to question anything. I'm like, oh my, your brother was going to die basically at the hand of your dad. Dad was trying to say it was the hand of Kai. I was like, he didn't make these games.
No. And then I'm like, to both Kai and Kitt, I'm like, Kitt, are you going to keep these trials going during your reign where you're just killing teenagers?
Yeah.
And picking them off from the slums? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I did not see the ending coming.
Me
did
either.
You? I could not predict it at all.
No, the ending was good. I love a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, it was a good type of cliffhanger where you're just like, okay, some things have like been tied up, but there's still a lot of unknowns.
And you have Ruthless, so you can just start reading it.
Yeah, I already did. Wow. But I told you I only read a couple of chapters,
which I read the first few chapters too, so
that's fine. But yeah, I did not see her killing the king at the end of this book. I had a feeling it would happen at some point, but yeah, crazy.
It was,
and then Adina dying
was just so sad.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Which leads us to a new segment.
Yes,
called The Crying Corner.
The Crying Corner, where I tell you about the times that I cried in this book. You guys. Well, did you cry in this book? Because technically it's both of us, but I have a feeling it's mostly going to be me.
I did not cry in this book.
It's okay. I made it to page 426.
Wow.
I know. What is there, like 470 something pages in here? So I made it really far. My first cry may surprise people, but this is why I'm like, when I say I cry a lot, because I don't just cry at death. I don't just cry at stuff like that. I cried when Kai described how much Kitt just wants to be loved by their dad.
Oh,
that got me, and I was kind of surprised that I cried at that. But it's on page 426. If anybody wants to go read it, it was, I don't know, it was just really moving to hear it from Kai's perspective, and then also just to add that added element to Kitt and everything going on. And then my second cry and my last cry was at the end of page 450 onto page 451 when Adina was dying from Pei's perspective.
That was really sad.
Yeah.
It was.
And it was interesting because this might sound bad, but it wasn't so much that like it was Adina. It was more so that I got to like, I feel like we finally heard from Paedyn how much she meant to her.
Yeah.
And that's what got me.
I was ready for them to like have their adventure, like their own adventure. And then she was ripped away from me.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought a healer was going to come out. I thought she was going to be saved for sure. But nope.
She's gone.
Why would they? The king decided she was a traitor.
Yeah.
And then when I really think about it, I'm like, her whole death is so, so tragic.
It's so cruel.
She's just this innocent little ball of sunshine that we'll talk about more in the next book. But like, yeah, awful. Okay. Do you have any predictions for the next book?
I do think that Kai is going to end up joining the resistance.
I think so too.
Will it be in the next book? I don't know.
There's only 3.
Yeah, there's only 3. So maybe at the end of this one or like the beginning of the next one.
Yeah. And then the last one is them I don't know.
Taking down Kitt, evil Kitt.
I know, but I don't want Kitt to be evil.
Well, they'll have to like help him.
We'll save him somehow. Yeah, anything else?
How much of a time jump do you think there'll be between? You already started reading.
I started. You did too.
I know.
It's 3 days.
I started because it was a bonus chapter.
See, I didn't get the bonus chapter because I read it digitally. It wasn't on there. So I just read them. It was a 3-day time jump.
3 days. Okay.
I thought it was done well.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, where do you think Paedyn's going to go next? Do you know? Did you look?
Okay, I saw that she went, so I guess like a little spoiler. This is literally in like the first chapter. She went back to her house, her childhood home, and then she just like left. And I'm assuming she's going to try and go to
one of the cities.
Cities.
Which is interesting because apparently the other cities don't have elites.
Yeah.
No, there's no powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
who are they ruled by? Or the king doesn't really care about them?
I think it's a different kingdom. I don't know. It's
I don't know either.
Like each city has their own king.
Yeah.
Okay, so after discussing it, let's rate our book. I rated it 4 stars. I didn't love the ending. I liked the very ending. I didn't love the resistance part of the ending. It felt rushed and unplanned, but maybe that probably was purposeful so that it could go poorly.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it wasn't still really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also rated it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I think it's similar to other like books I like we said, Hunger Games, Throne of Glass, kind of. I would definitely recommend it to someone who's wanting to like start a fantasy romance.
I agree. This is a really good intro to that.
Yeah. The world isn't too complicated. It has like a good love story.
Yeah.
You get some magical powers, but not too confusing.
No, it was super easy to understand, which is good. Yeah. That made me think of another question that I have for you. How did you feel about them like there was no... They never even kissed.
They didn't ever kiss.
Yeah.
I was a little sad about it, but I kind of think it's okay.
I think it worked.
Yeah. Usually I feel like I would be like, I wish they got something in the first book, but I feel like it left off in a good place of ooh, what's going to happen?
I agree. And I actually think it was like, obviously they wanted to, and if his dad, the king, hadn't interrupted that one time, he was about to kiss her. Yeah. But I do think it just showed that they really did stay true, like, to who they are. Like, Paedyn being like, I can't get tangled up with him because I could die.
It's risky.
And Kai being like, she's not from my world.
Yeah. But
then they would just have these really like romantic, sweet moments. I liked it. It worked. But I'd be like, come on. Make out for me.
I hope when we do get it that it's magical.
Yeah, me too. All right. Do you have a quote of the book?
Well, my quote of the book was going to be her eye description by...
The beginning one?
The beginning one. But
you
read
told
it.
me. No. I wouldn't have taken it from you.
No. I wanted you to read it because it's beautiful.
It is. I have another one about her eyes. Yeah. That's my quote of the book. This is our other new segment. Our quab.
Oh my gosh.
quote of the book. The quab. Okay, I actually wrote it down on here, but I'm going to find it in the book because it's just cuter. But this is on page 246. It's from Kai's POV. And it is when Paedyn, they're getting to know each other, and Paedyn asks him what his favorite color is. Where is it? Here we go. And he's basically like, I've never thought about this. Like, I've never thought about what my favorite color is. My life is
sad.
Too intense for that. I have to think about murdering instead. He literally says, it never seemed important. Not until I looked into a pair of ocean blue eyes and realized that perhaps drowning was a beautiful thing. Not until I looked into a pair of fiery blue eyes and realized that perhaps burning was a painless thing. Not until I looked into a pair of sky blue eyes and realized that perhaps falling was a peaceful thing. I'd never thought about what my favorite color was before because I hadn't seen one that was worthy of the title. Until now, that is. Blue, I say, my voice low. So all of that was his inner dialogue, which I love.
He was obsessed with her eyes, and I loved it.
Me too.
It was really
so
cute.
Good.
Okay, so next week we're going to be reviewing Powerless.
Yes.
Powerful.
Yes, Powerful, which is the novella from Adina's perspective.
Go ahead and follow us on our social media.
Yes, It's Fate Podcast. We finally changed our Instagram, so it's the same as TikTok.
So we're not confused.
It's Fate Podcast everywhere. Rate, review, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. Bye.